Howdy, y'all. I'm Taylor Ursula of That's So Pisces, and it's time to talk about our first quarter moon in Cancer. Let's dive in. I am recording this as the moon in Gemini approaches Neptune, and there's definitely a drowsy, sleepy, foggy vibe in the air right now. And so I'll be meeting you on the other side of this fog. Hopefully, you've had a chance to rest. Although, what does that look like in Aries season? It's been a week of go, go, go. And so this week and this energy may have us a little confounded. Like, wait, what direction were we just going in? What was I doing? At the same time, we have Mercury meeting up with Jupiter, which is just a magnanimous expansion of ideas, of possibilities, and coupled with that Aries energy of go, go, go that I just mentioned, we might feel like we need to hit the ground running towards everything we've just thought of. So this moon Neptune energy may have kind of pulled us into a place of, whoa, Nelly, it's time to gather our thoughts, time to make a plan maybe before we rush forth into anything. That said, this first quarter moon in Cancer energy certainly does seem to give us a bit of the kick that we need to kind of get things moving. So the first quarter moon shows us this sort of pressure point. We're building up to the full moon in Libra. And so we want to see things that we were putting into motion at the Aries new moon starting to take shape. With the moon conjunct Mars and then trine Saturn, it certainly does provide the feeling and the support of putting something into motion this week that has the tangible roots to take long-term shape. Something that we begin right now has the potential to grow into something over time that is something we want to see coming to fruition. We have Mars and Saturn meeting in trine themselves on Thursday. So this Tuesday, first quarter moon, is communicating or getting started what's sort of coming into firmness with Thursday's transit. So I think this bodes well for the activities and ideas that we've been trying to get started. Hopefully, if we're not biting off more than we can chew at this time, we can sort of move forth with determination, with diligence, and with a plan that's starting to take shape. So let's go ahead and pull some cards and get a look at what we've got in store for us this week. Stay tuned. As you can see, we've got our Aries new moon cards pulled out. And if you'd like to get a refresher on themes that we spoke about in that reading, go ahead and click the button below and check out last week's reading. Now, when we approach this moon, we're looking at energy that is accumulating now. We are looking at doubts and complications that arise with this energy as it accumulates. We're looking at gifts that we can work with regarding this energy, as well as lessons that we are able to make sense of as we begin to approach the full moon. So I'm very excited and curious to see what is coming up for us, what's accumulating for us at this time, and how we're going to work with that. Okay. All right. So, what do we got going on at this first quarter moon in Cancer? I see a reversal here. All right. So, energy that is accumulating now. Well, isn't that just delightful? We always love to see the star. The star appears at a time as we are moving away from the lessons of the tower. We have gone through this great ordeal of kind of eruption. We have gone through a period of tension.
And that certainly showed up in last week's reading, where we were discussing some of the feelings that might be activated and some of what we were creating space for. Certainly, electricity coming through. So, we are now emerging or beginning to see the light at the end of this tumultuous period. We are starting to see more of ourselves emerging. We are stepping out of some rubble, emerging as our truer self, as the self that has remained, as the residue and falseness has been burned away by the tower. So, I love that. Let's see what doubts and complications arise with this. How are we going to keep this going? We came in with this sort of mission hot last week. We have gone through it a bit with some of the emotions that have been stirred up. We've been activated. It's Aries season. We are all interested in being our authentic selves. And so, how do we go about building that now? Who am I? What is this star? We can see that there's flame and ether here. So, when it comes to making something tangible, how do we actually ground this identity that's emerging? How do we, what does the shape of the vessel of this energy take now? And what does it signify? So, there's something that we want to put into tangible action right now, but we're not sure how we're going to do that. That makes me think about the kind of Neptunian energy that the Gemini moon was moving through before entering Cancer. We had and Mercury and Jupiter sort of wanting to do it all, and so trying to figure out do what are the steps, where's the plan, what's the blueprint. I'm kind of lost in the fog a bit here about what the steps look like and how I can put them into motion. Gifts that I can work with regarding this energy. All right. I love thinking about the Seven of Cups as a gift. Usually it plagues us as a query. We have too many options in front of us, and typically we are coming from a place of emotional imprint when we are faced with all of these options, and that's what's clouding our judgment. So if we think of this energy as a gift, perhaps we can imagine that we've gone through some trial and error with this theme. We've had to confront where our emotions are steering the ship. That makes me think about the fact that we are in a chariot year, as we've discussed in our monthly readings. So we've done some of that confrontation of emotional imprint. We've done some of the excavating where what has happened in the past is coloring what we think we should be choosing in the present. So this is deeply powerful. This is important because we've burned away a lot of falseness, and that means that the gift that remains is being able to make choices now that are aligned with this authentic self that is emerging. This means we know better now than to make choices from places of lack, places of fear. We talked a little bit about this with the Five of Pentacles last week, and we said that when these feelings were being triggered was how we knew this cycle was unfolding. So we've done this work already, and we have a clearer radar on what the choices are in front of us, which is going to be helpful for outlining a plan. Lessons I'm able to make sense of as we approach this full moon. It's time to emerge. We're stepping out of our hidey hole. We saw this a little bit earlier in the year around Aquarius season, I believe. And so where we've been in the process with this, where we've been in the process of kind of going through it and that burning away, now that we are feeling authenticity rise to the surface and we are winning this week, we're ready to step out of some sort of enclosure we've been in. We're ready to make sense of the fact that we need to step out of something and be seen and share what we've been up to in here in order to possibly make these steps happen and make sense for us. So we might be doubtful of where we're supposed to go next and how we're supposed to put things in motion. The first step might be, well, it's time to emerge. We have to come out with something first. We have to come forth with something first. And in doing so, that might help us explore the rest of this cycle. All right, this is beautiful energy. I am so happy to share this with y'all. If you enjoyed this, please follow, please like, please send it to anyone who may enjoy this reading. And we will see you next week for our Libra full moon. All right, y'all, sending you love.